Hi, I'm Tony, and today we're going to Stitch and Bling. What is Stitch and Bling? It is whenever you take a quilting template and combine it with a template from Rhinestone Genie to add bling. I'm so excited for this. There are two ways to stitch and bling. There is the traditional way that you use your machine in order to get the pattern out, or if you don't have a sewing machine, you could still stitch and bling. Sew it by hand. So I'm going to show you both ways to stitch and bling, and then that way you can get going. Now, let's say if you're going through the Rhinestone Genie catalog and you're like, oh yeah, I really have an idea for a really cool stitch and bling, but I don't have a template for it. But they do have a quilting template. Give them a call. Contact them. Let them know that, hey, you know what? This cool thing is out there for this template. I really would like it if you made a matching Rhinestone Genie template. And you never know. They may say, yeah, we could totally do that. So let's get started and let's have some fun. Stitch and Bling has two components. It has the template component, and then it has the bling component. These are two of my favorite patterns that Rhinestone Genie carries. You, of course, have a snowflake, and then you have a lovely flower. I'm going to be doing the sewing component, the template component, by both machine and by hand. So I'm going to sew this one by machine, and then I'll sew this one by hand, and then we're going to add bling to both, and it's super easy. So all I'm doing is I'm taking my template and laying it where I want it on my fabric. And then I am taking a water-soluble pencil. You can also use chalk or talcum powder. The chalk you can, of course, get by a mechanical pencil. This is actually a wheel. You can get a regular pencil. I've got a couple of suggestions down below in my video that you can take a look at. So all I'm doing is tracing and filling this all the way in and tracing it all the way around. Like I said, you can use a water-soluble pencil, you can use chalk, you can use whatever you like. So take your template, place it where you want, and then trace. Now, whenever I machine sew this, I am going to fill in these gaps. I don't really want to leave these emptiness in here. I'm just using these as a guideline, and I'm going to be sewing in black. That way it's easy for you to see what I am doing. And there you are. There, I can see it nicely. Oh yeah, look at that. So there is my pattern. So I'm going to take this, bring it to my sewing machine, just copy along and sew this out, and then come back and we'll trace the second one. And voila! So this was machine stitched, so it's just a single layer, and all I did was I machine stitched around the pattern in order to create the design on here. Now you can do this with quilting as well if it is your finished product. Now for the second one, I want to add a flower with the DMC floss. So this one I'm going to be doing by hand. So let me place this. Same exact thing. I'm just following along and drawing my lines in order to make sure that I have something that I can follow. And there. Now, if for some reason, as you are sewing along, if you're finding it's harder to sew straight lines because they're not filled in, it's only the little bit of it, you can go back through and fill those lines in. For example, in this case, let me show that to you. You see how it's broken up just like with the template? You can go back through and fill those lines in. And it is filled in. So as you see, I filled in all those gaps to make it a lot easier to see the lines as I'm doing it. So I'm going to hand sew this one with 3 strands of floss, and then I'll come back and show it the finished product to you so that we can bling. And our embroidered piece is done. Now you see, because I used 3 strands of floss whenever I hand embroidered this, it looks a little bit thicker, it stands out more. It all depends upon how you want your design to look, depending on, and of course if you can machine sew or embroidery sew, of course. But here's the differences in the two. So now we're going to do some bling. First thing you want to do with the rhinestone genie bling, we of course have our metallic templates, and of course the bling, the pretty bling. Now you notice with the pan it reflects the light, so I'm going to take the pan and I'm actually going to set it off to the side so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Now make sure that you have the right rhinestone genie template to match your embroidery. So we're going to do the snowflake first. So our pan to the side, our snowflake, and then our bling. Now I really like how the bling comes in a resealable bag. We're going to take our bling and we're just going to spread it out generously. And then I'm going to take my sweeping brush and just sweep all that bling into place. Now, whenever I have all the bling in, oops, there we go. I need one over here. I'm still a novice at this, so it takes me a little bit longer to do. Now, if one is upside down, you just sweep it and turn it in order to get it to sit in place. Oops, I need one here. There we go. Whoops, one over here's upside down. If you watch Dave do this, he does it so quickly and it just goes into place super fast. Now, of course, your first couple of times that you do the rhinestone bling, it's not going to be super fast. You're going to have to actually stir it around. There we go. And there. Come on. There we go. And it's all in place. Oops, I missed one. I missed one over here. Turn upside down. There you go. Oops, nope. There we are. Now you're right. All right, so check all of your rhinestones. Make sure that every single one is facing the correct direction. There we go. All right, that's good. Let's get that one in there. Everything looks good. All right, and then take all of your extra bling and take it off to the side. Whoops, I missed one here. So let's get that one in there and get that one in there. Perfect. Okay, I think all that looks good. It's all in there. So now what we want to do is we want to take our transfer tape. So this is transfer tape that you can also get from Rhinestone Genie. And I'm going to take my transfer tape and I'm going to lay it down on my bling. Now, I like to keep a finger holding it so it's easy to then pull it away again. So make sure you get all that bling and then pull it away. And now you see your design is on the transfer tape. So I'm going to take my bling and position it the way that I want it. I think that looks good. Oops, nope, a little bit to the left there. There we go. There we are, and we've got it. Now, let's say if this positioning wasn't great. Well, it's tape, and the rhinestones are stuck to the tape. You can pick it up. Until you iron it, it is fine. So we're going to take it, and we're going to lay it down. Now, at this point, you just iron it. Make sure you have an ironing pad or ironing board underneath when you iron it. and it's going to iron nicely. Now, you do not need to have a sheet over top of it, an ironing sheet, unless you're really using delicate fabrics. If you're using 100% cotton quilting fabric, this is fine. Delicate fabrics, you may want to be a little bit extra and have some extra precautions and put a Teflon sheet over top. But for this is perfectly fine. Now I'm using, of course, my Oliso iron to iron everything down. And you just iron it in place. Oh, look, I caught a single little rhinestone over here onto my plastic. Have I already glued that one to my sheet? Yes. Apparently, oh, nope, popped right off. There we go. Apparently, nope, I didn't. I've got it. So I can resave that one. So I put it back in. Now, once you think if it's nice and ironed, now the nice thing about these rhinestones, they won't come off. Once you iron them on correctly, you can wash this. You can put it on your clothing. You can do all sorts of things. I know I like to bling out a bunch of my t-shirts. And of course, the Stitch and Bling, you can use it for quilting, sewing, projects, everything. Now, I'm going to let that cool for a quick minute, just to make sure, because we want to make sure this is nice and cool before we take off our plastic. Now, what do you do with this? Well, I'm just going to take all of my rhinestones and pull them to the very bottom of my pan. Take my baggie and just dump it right back into the baggie. And then I'm going to remove this and we can put the other one on for this one. So let's go ahead and do that while we're waiting for this to cool. Now, when you take these out, they tend to get a little stuck on here because they're really in there. So if you don't have nails, you can take a butter knife and put it under there to lift it up. So now let's do this one right here. So this is for this design. Oh, that's going to look nice. That's going to look so cool. Okay, so we're going to take that and put that in there. Now, you notice how these are cutouts. It's up to you if you'd like to cut it out or leave it on there. I like to leave it on here because it gives me a little extra room to sweep the rhinestones away. So let's pour that in there. There we are. And sweep. Let's get all those rhinestones in there. Oh, I'm getting... Is this one getting faster? That looks good. Oh, I got some over here. The more you do this, the better at it you're going to get. So I've got one there and there. I think, oh, this one over here I still need to do. There we are. My problem is whenever I want to get one reversed the other way, if it's flipped upside down, sometimes my sweep isn't that great and I'll flip other ones up by accident. See, but by preparing the next one, we're allowing this one to cool. All right, come on. Come on, Tony. There you go. Do I have it all? Let's get that one in there. There we go. That looks good. Whoops. That one was flipped upside down. So let's put another one in. Whoops. And I flipped another one. Of course I did. All right, come on. So yes, it's perfectly okay if you don't get this correct the first time. You just got to keep on going. Remember, the more you do something, the better at it you're going to get, and the more mastery that you will have at it. So this is still a lot faster than placing every single rhinestone. Trust me, I have seen cosplayers do that, and I'm just like, why don't you just get a design with Rhinestone Genie? Oops. Let's see. There we are. I think that's good. Oh, I'm missing one over here. There we are. So we're sweeping away all of the rhinestones. There we go. All right. Now, this is cool to the touch, so now I can pull it away. Now, as you notice, as I pull away the transfer tape, the bling stays, and it's right in here. And I'm using my nails to try to pull it off. It's on there permanently right away. Now, this transfer tape you can use over and over and over, and I'm going to show that by using a different one. But first, I want to show you, oh, and of course all the glue went through to your mats. You can also put a Teflon coating sheet underneath of it to protect whatever surface you have if you don't want it to stick to that. But yeah, the glue is that strong. It's stuck to my mat. Oops, there, get rid of that piece of thread, and there's that bling. Isn't that pretty? Okay, let's do this one. So now let's do this one. So I'm going to use the same transfer tape. I find I can use the same transfer tape up to 5-10 times. All right, so you know what? Let me sweep away all of these extra things way down there. That way, they're not in my way. There we are. All right, let's get all of the rhinestones. Now, you notice how I'm holding my template down. That is, as you see, because it's trying to pull the metallic template as well. That is perfectly okay. So let's set that aside and figure out where I want to put this design. Now, the Stitch and Bling is a really cool thing. Now, I actually have a single rhinestone that has gone off. So I'm going to be using my tweezers. These are my favorite tweezers for bling. They're by Famore. If you look at their website, their number is 507. They're the perfect little angled tweezers for bling. So if you notice that a single one went wonky as you were pulling it off your magnetic template, you can adjust it. There we are. All right, let's iron this down. And I'll come back after it's finished ironed and cooling to show you our finished bling. Now remember, we want it to be cool to the touch. So once it's cool to the touch, you can pull it away. Now I want to reuse this one, so I'm going to go ahead and get my paper it came on and put it back. And then now I can reuse my transfer tape over and over until it loses the stickiness. And there is my bling. Now you notice in the center here, I had some little embroidery threads that this design went over. That's because I made my lines so thick, and I decided to bow them in instead of going out for the room. So in this case though, it is beautiful and it's perfect. So there is your finished bling for both of them. And that is Stitch and Bling. You can use it for quilting, you can use it for sewing, you can put it on your clothing. Just find your favorite template and match it up with an appropriate rhinestone set. And of course, Rhinestone Genie has these sets together so that you can do these. And these are my two favorite. But there are a ton of different Stitch and Blings. So find your favorite and create. And that's Stitch and Bling. It's as simple as that. Whether you machine sew or you hand embroider, Stitch and Bling is a really cool tool that you can step up your bling game. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you'll learn something how to stitch and bling. Don't forget to like this video, follow my YouTube, as well as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook group, Quite Nerdy Quilters, and don't forget about Twitch, where I sew live and you can interact and ask me questions.